How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back in another video. Today I'll be going through some of the spoilers that have already been revealed for War of the Spark, and just talking about some of the cooler ones. So first off, we got Gideon Blackblade here. I only click on the ones that I can't read normally. Legendary Planeswalker, as long as it's your turn, Gideon Blackblade is a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructible, it's still a Planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Gideon during your turn. +1, up to one other target creature you control gains vigilance and lifelink or indestructible until end of turn. Exile target permanent -6. Very strong card. Enters as a creature, which is interesting. And this is the actual Mythic Edition art for it, so that does mean that there's going to be a third Mythic Edition and Gideon is going to be in there. Seems like a great card. I'm a fan of it. 1 white. Could be strong in the new standard. Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. Target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard, draw a card. Draw 7 cards, then if your library has no cards in it, you win the game. This is just Lab Man. It's Laboratory Maniac, its abilities. It's very cool card. It's a Laboratory Maniac that doesn't die to creature removal, so could be very strong in Commander in particular. Liliana, Dreadhorde Commander. Really like this card. 6 mana, whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. Plus her to make a 2/2 black zombie creature token. -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures. -9, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. Very sweet. Chandra the Artisan. 2 red. Whenever one or more loyalty counters are removed for Chandra, she deals that much damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Very cool. Exile a top card of your library. You may play it this turn. Great ability in red. Exile top 7 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. -7. So it starts at 4. So if you ever really want to take advantage of this ability using only her abilities, you gotta get her up to 7 first, which is not easy. Nissa, who shakes the world. I really like this planeswalker as well. 3 green. Whenever you tap a forest for mana, add additional green. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with vigilance and haste. That's still a land. You get an emblem for -8. With lands you control of indestructible. Search your library for any number of forest cards, put them into play tapped, then shuffle your library. Very cool card. Very powerful. Could be great for mono green. Very fun. Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. You may cast creature spells as though they had flash. So like a Eva, but for all creatures. Until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gains vigilance and reach. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile one of them face down, and put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may look at and cast it if it's a creature card. Seems great. Seems very strong. 3 mana planeswalker with this ability. Very powerful. Tybalt. Hilarious that he's back. Love Tybalt. Your opponent's can't gain life. -2, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Could actually be standard playable, just for the opponent's can't gain life. Like that's very good for mono red. Ob Nixilis the Hate Twisted. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Ob Nixilis deals 1 damage to that player. Destroy target creature. Its controller draws 2 cards. So you can use it to sack your own creatures to draw 2 cards, kind of like a Skull Clamp type of deal. Or use it as actual removal. Plus, the incidental damage is nice. Fibblethip, the Lost. Love this card. When Fibblethip the Lost enters the battlefield, draw a card. If it entered your library or was cast from your library, draw 2 cards instead. When Fibblethip becomes a target of a spell, shuffle Fibblethip into its owner's library. So there's already a really cool competitive EDH deck about this guy, using Proteus Staff and Fibblethip being the only creature in the entire deck. So you tuck Fibblethip onto the bottom of your library using Proteus Staff, and then you would flip until you find a creature. It'll be Fibblethip, and then you shuffle all the put all the revealed cards back on the bottom of your library in any order, and then Fibblethip will enter and you draw 2. So basically, you look through your entire library, pick the order of your library, put it down, and then draw the top 2 cards. So you can tutor for any 2 cards. You just put your combo on top, draw into your combo, play your combo, win the game. Very cool. Dramatic Reversal, Isochron Scepter is a good way to go about it. The Wanderer. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and other permanents you control. -2, exile target creature with power 4 or greater. This is a very interesting card just because nobody knows who she is, or he is. Probably a she. I mean, it looks like she's wearing a dress. But people are very confused as to who she is. Teo the Shield Mage. You have hexproof. -2, create a 0/3 white wall creature token with Defender. Best use I can see for this card is in what's its name? Arcades Commander. Augur of Bolus gets a reprint, so I'm not gonna really go through that. Davriel, the Rogue Shadow Mage. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player has one, or if that player has 1 or fewer cards in hand, Davriel deals 2 damage to them. Target player discards a card. Pretty cool. Nothing crazy. Krenko Tin Street Kingpin. 3 mana. Whenever Krenko Tin Street Kingpin attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. This card is very strong. It could be very, very cool with in Commander as like a Voltron style commander, and it could just be good in Standard with a lot of different cards that pump it. Create a ton of tokens. It could be very cool. Also in Commander with Coat of Arms, that sounds disgusting. Arlen, Voice of the Pack. Each creature you control, it's a wolf or a werewolf, enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. -2, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. It's a cool card, and it gives werewolf/wolf tribal something to work with. They need a lot of stuff to work with. Jang Yangu, Wild Crafter. With Mawu. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has tap, add 1 mana of any color, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Great card. I'm a big fan of this one. It can do a lot of work in +1/+1 counters decks. It can give counters, and it can also make counters do other things. Kind of like Rishkar. I'm a fan of him. Neheb Dreadboard Champion. Neheb Dreadhorde Champion. I love this card. Trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you may discard any number of cards. If you do, draw that many cards and add that much red mana until end of turn. You don't lose mana as steps and phases end. Sorry about that. So, I have a Neheb the Eternal Commander deck, and this guy is going to shoved right in. He is so good. Very cool for red. It ramps you and it draws you cards, and it doesn't even need to hit the player. Like, hit a player, it can also hit a planeswalker, which is something that's usually not an option. I like it. Dreadhorde Invasion. 1 in a black enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and amass 1. Whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks against lifelink until end of turn. So the first part's kind of like Bitter Blossom, except it's going to make 1 token and then buff that token. And the second part, pretty cool. You make your zombies pretty big and just gain life. I like it. I don't have a good use for it right now, but it's cool. Flux Channeler, 2 in a blue. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. That's going into every Atraxa Super Friends deck. It's probably going to be played a good amount in Standard with Super Friend decks in Standard. And it looks great with Simic Ascendancy in Standard. That's one thing I love about Proliferate being back. Simic Ascendancy is going to be so much stronger. Ignite the Beacon. Search your library for the 2 Planeswalker cards, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Going into Atraxa Super Friends, good card. Ravnica at War, exile all multicolored permanents. Great 4-mana board wipe. Usually one-sided if you make your deck correct. Lazotep Plating. 1 to blue, amass 1. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. I think it's a very strong card. 2 mana, get to dodge any targeted removal. Pretty good. Plus you get a token out of it. Eternal Taskmaster. Enters the battlefield tapped. When it attacks you, may pay 2 into black. If you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty good. Dreadhorde Arcanist. I like this card a lot. It's very cool. 1 in a red, trample. Whenever it attacks, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to Dreadhorde Arcanist's power from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So it can get a lot of those like suspend cards, then modern like Living End, and cast that for free. Very cool. And now we got the goodest of boys, Mawu Loyal Companion. Look at how buff this cute pupper is. Trample Vigilance. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters to be put onto Mawu, that many +1/+1/+1 counters are put onto it instead. It could be a cool Voltron commander. It could be cool in Standard with Proliferate all over the place. It can be a big boy. He can be a good boy and a big boy. Paradise Druid, a mana dork that has hexproof when it's untapped. Tybalt's Rager, when it dies, deals 1 damage, and it's got double fire breathing. Liliana's Triumph, this card is being talked about a lot, very strong card. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you control a Liliana Planeswalker, each opponent also discards a card. Instant speed. It's an instant speed edict effect that has upside with the Planeswalker synergy. Kiora's Dambreaker, a 5/6 that ETB Proliferate. An ETB Proliferate card could be cool. I don't know what else there is that has Proliferate on enters the battlefield, but I like the idea. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker, or single combat. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control and sacrifices the rest. So similar to, what's that card called? I can't remember what the card is called. Not Route, something similar though. There's another card that does that same thing. I can't remember what it is. Players can't cast creature or planeswalker spells until end of your next turn. That's very cool. Johnny's Pridemate, reprint, Crush Descent, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2, amass 2. It's okay. Banehound, a 1/1 lifelink haste. That's pretty cool. It's a doggo. It's a dead doggo though. It's got a lot of eyes. Invading Manticore, a 4/5 zombie Manticore with ETB amass 2. Arlen's Wolf, can't be blocked by creature power 2 or less. I'm just going to kind of skip through a lot of the commons. Giant Growth is back, featuring Mawu. Beautiful. Commons that are boring. No Escape, counter target creature or planeswalker spell. If the spell is countered this way, exile it. Scry one, that's pretty cool. Target opponent sacrifices a creature that attacked or blocked this turn. If you control a Gideon Planeswalker, that player sacrifices 2 of those creatures instead. Not bad. Let's advance to Mass 3. Burning Prophet's pretty cool. It's like prowess, except for instead of getting the toughness boost, you scry one. I like that a lot. Vivian's Grizzly is cool too. Pay 4, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't, put the card into your hand, put it on the bottom of your library. Just a bunch of commons here. This is kind of cool. It's additional cost to cast a discard a card, draw 2 cards, mass 1. Kaya's ghost form seems really good. Enchant creature or planeswalker you control. When enchanted permanent dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. That's such a strong common. Like, this is going to be an expensive common. Expensive foil common. Spellkeeper weird. Creature type weird. Somebody please make weird tribal and let me know how it goes. Water Strike, Teferi's Time Twist. Got all the planeswalker named cards. Totally lost. Featuring Fibblethip. He's up on Nicol Bolas' statue's head. Okay, now we got more. More good stuff. Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. Blue, black, red. Nicol Bolas, Dragon God, has all loyalty abilities of all other planeswalkers on the battlefield. Draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. -3, discard a card. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. -8, each player who doesn't control a legendary creature or planeswalker loses the game. That's brutal. Very strong. Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. This is the Buy a Box promo. So if you want this, you're going to have to buy a box of your local LGS, which is where you should buy them anyways. Creature and planeswalker spells you cast have infinity for artifacts. +2, Tezzeret deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of artifacts you control and you gain X life. Return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Exile top 10 cards to your library. Put all artifact cards from among them onto the battlefield. That seems good. Domri, Anarch of Bolas. Creatures you control get +1/+0. Add red or green. Creatures spells you cast this turn can't be countered. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. That's pretty good for 3. I'm a fan of that. Domri. Rowstorm Conduit. This I can't read. Okay. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, he deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Scry 1/+2, -2. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. There's an infinite combo using the expansion, copying expansion with expansion, just doing that over and over and over again, then you can do infinite damage thanks to his static ability. So that's something to look at. That could be relevant in the upcoming standard. Sorin, Vengeful Bloodlord. As long as it's your turn, creatures and planeswalkers you control have lifelink. That's very cool. Sorin deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Remove target creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a vampire in addition to its other types. Pretty cool card. Talismir, Friend to Wolves, another wolf tribal card. When it enters the battlefield, create Vola, Friend to Elves, a legendary 3/3 green and white wolf creature token. Voha, I don't know what I said. Whenever a wolf enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life, and you may have that creature fight up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Pretty cool. Rowalisk, Apex Hybrid. 2 green, blue, legendary human mutant. Flying Trample. When it enters the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. When it dies, proliferate, then proliferate again. It seems alright. Nothing crazy, just if it had black involved, then you'd have the recursion aspect, and you could really be able to take advantage of that in a Super Friend style deck in Commander or something like that. But as it is, I don't know if it's going to do much in Standard. It definitely could do something inside Commander, but if it was black, it would be so much stronger. You make it your commander and be able to recur it over and over, and you just pump up your planeswalkers drastically. I would love to be able to do that, but nah. I don't know how I feel about that card. New Niv Mizzet Reborn. Legendary creature, flying. When Niv Reborn enters the battlefield, exile the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Depending on the deck, this could draw you 10 cards, but it's unlikely. It's going to probably draw you 3 to 5 cards if you make the deck correctly, which is still good. But it's an okay card. It's an okay card. I like it, but I'm not crazy about it. Johnny the Great-Hearted. Creatures you control have vigilance. +1, gain 3 life. -2, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. That's pretty good, considering you can put the counters on right away. I like that a lot. Plus, it's Johnny the Great-Hearted, so him and Zedru apparently got married. Teferi Time Raveler. This is probably one of the strongest cards in the set so far. It's amazing. 1 white-blue. Each opponent can cast spells only anytime they can cast a sorcery. So no instant speed stuff. Until your next turn, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Very cool. And -3, return up to 1 target creature or enchantment to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Okay. It's mostly its static ability. That's huge. Dreadhorde Butcher. This card is very cool. Black-red, zombie warrior, haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, put a +1/+1 counter on Dreadhorde Butcher. When Dreadhorde Butcher dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. It's like a turn 3 win using this guy. Play him turn 2, hit. Turn 3, use Colossus on him, hit, and then thud. Pretty good. This is in foreign language. Role Reversal. Blue-blue-red sorcery. Exchange control of 2 target permanents that share a type. Very cool card, and once it comes out, it's going in my Chaos deck. Storiv. I don't know why I clicked on this one, but oh well. Storiv. Devkaren Lich. Trample. Whenever Storiv deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, return to your hand target creature or planeswalker card in your graveyard that wasn't put there this combat. Very interesting card. I could see it being a cool reanimator deck, but it's not to the battlefield, so that really hurts it. It's still a strong card. It's going to see play. It's going to see a commander play. Time Wipe. Return a creature you control to its owner's hand, then destroy all creatures. I like that a lot. That's cool. Widespread Brutality. Amass 2. Then the army you amass deals damage equal to its power to each non-army creature. Very cool. So let's say you have a 4/4 army token, it becomes a 6/6, and then it's a board wipe basically to all the other creatures that are power 6 or toughness 6 or less. Invade the City. Amass X, where X is a number of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard. Could be cool. Dovin's Veto. This is a great card in the control mirror. This spell can't be countered. Counter target non-creature spell. Death Sprout. Destroy target creature. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. It's actually the same girl in the Art of Growth Spiral, so she's still ramping you, but it's a little sadder now. Cruel Celebrant, the one person that seems to be happy during this war. Whenever Cruel Celebrant or another creature or planeswalker you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's cool that they also added planeswalker onto this. It's like Blood Artist effect or Zulaport Cutthroat effect, but includes planeswalkers. Angrath's Rampage, black and red. This is a cool card. Choose 1. Target player sacks an artifact, sacks a creature, or sacks a planeswalker. It's going to be heavily played. That's a very good card. Gleaming Overseer. When Gleaming Overseer enters the battlefield, amass 1. Zombie tokens you control have hexproof and menace. I'm a fan of this one, so when it ETBs, you get a 1/1 zombie that has hexproof and menace. And it's going directly into my, what's her name? Farina Lich Queen. whatever her name is. Yeah, I think it's Verena. But going directly into that deck, Leyline Prowler, Death Touch Lifelink, Mana Dork, interesting. Angrath, Captain of Chaos, looks like he's on Bolas' side now. Creatures you control have menace, amass 2. Kaya, Bane of the Dead, very cool card here. Your opponents and permanents your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells or abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof. -3 to exile target creature. So it's 6 mana, exile 2 creatures, and they could be creatures with hexproof. Vraska, Swarm's Eminence. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player or planeswalker, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Create a 1/1 black assassin creature chosen with Death Touch, and whenever this creature deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. So it's got planeswalker Death Touch as well. That's pretty cool. And so Death Touch tribal, anybody? Samut, Tyrant Smasher. Creatures you control have haste. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. Scry 1. So it's just super haste. Gives everything haste. You can get. I don't know why they did that. I really don't. Like, why static ability be haste and then give creature, like, unless you're gonna give an opponent's creature haste during your turn, which doesn't do anything. I don't see a purpose for it. Like, it's very weird. They should have given it first strike or something, trample. But I don't get the double haste. It's weird. It doesn't work well. The Lahiri, Storm of Stone. As long as it's your turn, creatures you control have first strike and equip abilities you can activate cost 1 less to activate. Skull Clamp, Screams, and Yes. -X, Lahiri, Storm of the Stone. Deals X damage to target tapped creature. She seems good. I really like her for any equipment heavy decks. Voltron style decks. Seems cool. Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card, untap target permanent. So, 7 loyalty. So you can untap a lot of stuff and draw a lot of cards. She seems very good, and I'm a fan of her. Karn, the Great Creator. Activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. This combos really well with Mycosynth Lattice, meaning that your opponents can't activate any abilities of any of their permanents, including lands. +1 until your next turn. Up to one target creature, up to one target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost. -2. So also with Mycosynth Lattice, that +1 just kills your opponent's lands. +2, you may choose an artifact card you own from outside the game or an exile, reveal that card, and add it to your hand. That's a very cool ability. This card seems strong. I like him. Bolas' Citadel. You look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than its mana cost. Tap it, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. This card seems super powerful. Think about it with Sensei's Divining Top in play. You can control what's on the top of your library, so you can cast whatever you want to. Or you can tap the top to draw a card and then recast the top for 1. And do that as much as you want. So it's just pay 1 life, draw a card. And it works especially well if you have Aetherflux Reservoir, because you can just draw, then recast Sensei's Divining Top over and over and over, netting you a ton of life, and then just shoot somebody for 50. Vivian's Arcbow. X tap, discard a card, look at the top X cards of your library. You may put a creature card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. That seems like a... oh, sorry about this, guys. That seems like a great card. And you can just pitch lands to get creatures. Love it. Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on. Sorry about that. God, I don't know what's going on in my throat. God Pharaoh Statue. Spells your opponent's control cost 2 more to cast, so it's a good stacksy card. And each beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life. So it's a stacks card that also slowly drains your opponents. It's a good piece. Good piece in a lot of stacks decks. We got some lands here. Karn's Bastion. That's going to be great in a lot of Super Friends decks. It's going to be great in Standard with the Wilderness Reclamation. Pay 4, tap it to proliferate. I'm going to be running this 4 of these in my Simic Ascendancy deck with 4 Wilderness Reclamations and a bunch of ways to put +1/+1 counters on creatures and proliferate all those counters and win the game. I like this a lot. Interplanar Beacon. Whenever you cast a Planeswalker spell, you gain 1 life. Super Friends decks. Yes. Tap it for a colorless, or pay 1 and tap it to add 2 mana, different colors. Spend this mana only on Planeswalker spells. So it's a great card for Planeswalker decks. Emergence Zone. 1 tap for a colorless, or pay 1, sack it. You can make cast spells this turn as though they had flash. Cool card. Then we got the basic land cycle. And that's it right now. So far, this is what we have for spoilers. I will 100% be doing another update video probably in a couple of days with the new spoilers. I'm not going to be doing it on a daily basis because that seems excessive. But I'll be doing them maybe a couple of times a week. It took me a little while to put this one out, but the next ones will be much shorter and take up less cards. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you're excited for War of the Spark. It seems like a fantastic set. Let me know what you guys think about the set. Comment down below. Let me know what you're planning on building. What commander cards scream to you. Like Fibblethip. I'm totally going to end up building that deck. It seems so fun. Just let me know what you guys think. How do you like having 36 Planeswalkers in a standard set? It's crazy. And let me know how excited you are. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And peace out, everybody.